The point of today is to give an update on the government's tracing app, Covid Trace. The Prime Minister, of course, has set out three broad conditions for the economy to come strongly back again. That's greater and more ubiquitous testing, greater tracing, and of course then clamping down on areas where the virus might spike. And to ensure we can get greater tracing, Covid Trace, or the use of an app, is going to be one of those core aspects. The app itself, Covid Trace, simply digitises a manual process. Nothing more, nothing less. It is entirely voluntary. It'll be available in the next week or two for Australians to use, and all it does is allows a manual process to be sped up digitally. Right now, if you test positive to coronavirus, health officials will sit down with you and ask you to trace back where you were and who you've been with. And it's really hard to try and remember the 90-year-old lady in the queue behind you at a shopping centre, or a family that was close by you for whatever purpose. Covid Trace as an app digitises that and allows the tracing aspect to be sped up. The intent being, and what we really want, is for as many Australians as possible, well over 40%, to download the app. And the app works very simply. There's no geolocation, there's no surveillance, there's no tracking. The app simply connects polls with another app if those two phones, so two people, are within 1.5 metres for 15 minutes. It simply swaps phone numbers and names. That information is held encrypted and securely on the individual's mobile phone. You control your own data. And if you test positive to coronavirus, that information is shot up to a secure national health storage and given straight to state governments so they can contact individuals that may have come in contact with an infected person. Right now, a privacy impact assessment is being conducted. The Privacy Commissioner is involved, and all of that will be made public. The source code will be made public, so all Australians can have absolute assurance, from the privacy right the way to the security, right the way to the individual elements, the bits and bytes of the code, that the app is simply a health app for individuals voluntarily used to help us trace those who may have been close to someone who's been infected by the virus. Right now, the Australian Signals Directorate, the Australian Cyber Security Centre are involved in the security checking of the app, and we've also invited in the Cyber Security Cooperative Research Centre also as a wider industry partner to be involved in looking at the code. So we want to be as transparent as we possibly can. It's a big Team Australia moment. When this app is released in the next week or two, we really need every Australian to download it and to run it, so that if indeed your family, you, come in contact with someone with the virus, you can rest assured that health officials will rapidly contact you and seek to provide the best care possible to you.
If someone has downloaded the app, have they effectively given consent, or is it the case they can download the app, then they test positive, then they have the opportunity to give consent to that data being used?
The intent is to provide consent at the very start. So when the app is downloaded, there'll be a full privacy statement, and of course the wider privacy impact assessment will be available as well. So consent will be given at the app download.
Okay, someone tests positive then what happens? How does the...
So let's say I've got the app downloaded and I test positive to the virus. I'll literally click enter, I've tested positive. The last 21 days of people I may have come in contact with. So for 15 minutes in 1.5 metre proximity goes up to a national health data store, and because the app knows in terms of what suburb I live from, so what state, that information goes straight to the state health authorities, and the state health authorities do the tracking. At no point does the Commonwealth get the data at all, and when the pandemic's done, I delete the app and all data from my phone, and then I, the Minister, will blow away the national data store, and therefore no data will be kept for individual citizens.
How does the app know that you've been within 1.5 metres of someone?
The app is always polling during Bluetooth, so the native Bluetooth functionality on your mobile phone, and is looking for another Covid Trace app. And as soon as it finds another app that is within 1.5 metres and that has been resident within that period for 15 minutes, that's when the polling or exchange takes place.
Are people's phones going to go flat within 5 minutes?
No, not at all, because unbeknownst to you right now, you've got 30 apps on your phone because you haven't closed them down, and they're all using Bluetooth and all polling. And we're making sure in terms of the design of the code that it's not a heavy draw on Bluetooth on the phone.
Carney Consulting has done modelling suggesting the government may struggle to reach the 40% take-up based on other countries. Why would Australia be different?
Because this is a big moment for Australia, and the Prime Minister is making it very clear that if we want to release and loosen the restrictions that are currently surrounding us. I mean, look around. This park used to be full of families in my home here in the Gold Coast, and it's not now because of the restrictions. Well, we want families to come back. We want the economy to kickstart and drive again, and to do that, we really need Australians to embrace a digital version of a manual tracing program. Look, it's new. We get that. It's something different. But everyone's got a phone, over 90% of Australians. We all use a range of apps to cover everything from how fast we ride our bicycle to how far we're running to what we're doing in the gym. This is simply one more application, but with a really important aspect. It's about giving health authorities the opportunity to call you if you've been close to someone with the virus, or to call someone who is behind you, someone who didn't even know, perhaps an elderly Australian.
What do you say to Australians who are hesitant to sign up for privacy reasons?
Well, the privacy impact statement will be available. The source code will be open for everyone. Any university or tech company can go through the source code and provide any updates or guidance to the government that they wish to, so they'll be absolutely and utterly transparent.
So can you give a 100% guarantee that people's information is safe, that our phone numbers won't be given to strangers, won't be uploaded on a stranger's phone? Can you give a 100% guarantee?
Well, that's why we've got the Cybersecurity Research Centre. We've got the Australian Cybersecurity Centre. We've got the ASD going through that to provide all of those guarantees.
And, certainly in people's minds at least, when we think of federal government IT initiatives, we don't think of success, think of Centrelink a few weeks ago, the census a few years ago. Is this going to be another one of those stuff-ups?
This is one of many health applications and technology on a suite of tech that we've put in the last 3 weeks. Australia.gov.au has had 7 million visitors. We rushed in the information app, the coronavirus app, that's had 2.77 million downloads. We've got the WhatsApp channels with millions of subscribers and 10 million messages being downloaded. So the scale of the technology we're putting in place is unprecedented in terms of this health emergency, and this will be one more application to build into that suite of apps.
Will you and your staff and all members of Parliament be forced to use it?
No one will be forced to use it. It's absolutely voluntarily. There's no question I'll be the first one to download it, probably after the Prime Minister, and we'll be encouraging everyone to download it. I'll be encouraging corporate Australia, not-for-profits, everyone to actually download it. It is a big moment for Australia. If we want to release these and loosen these restrictions, we've got to be able to have an effective tracing mechanism. The current mechanism, manual, is very good, but a digital mechanism will advance that in terms of days quicker for your family to find out if you've been in proximity to someone with the virus.
Minister, what do you make of the Queensland government's $200 million offer to Virgin? What will the federal government be doing now?
It's quite clear there's a bunch of commercial negotiations going on with Virgin. We don't want to prejudice those negotiations, so we'll just wait and see how they go.
Will the federal government be stepping forward to assist?
Well, once there's commercial negotiations in play, which they are, they should be allowed to run their course.
Do you think it's a good decision by the Queensland government?
I think I'll let the Queensland government speak for themselves.
The UN has called for more money to be invested, and Japan is rallying other nations to fill the funding void left by Donald Trump. Will Australia have to pay more money to the WHO?
It's a question for the Health Minister.
Nursing homes say they're struggling with lack of funding for things like extra protective gear and extra staff, for example. Will you be giving them more money to get through the pandemic?
There's been a comprehensive $320 billion package that the government has rolled out over the last month to cover not just nursing homes but staff in vulnerable areas, including Australians who've lost their jobs. It's the most unprecedented economic package, frankly, in the history of the nation. And at present, we're waiting to see how that package rolls out. The JobKeeper payments will start rolling, of course, from the first week of May. So we'll wait and see how this entire package rolls through the economy.
Just back on the topic.
I think Australians will embrace it, because all it is a digital process, a digital way of doing a manual process. There's nothing new here. And because the source code will be laid open for everyone to see with absolute transparency, so people will see there's no hidden agenda, there's no surveillance, there's no geo-tracking, there's none of that. This is simply digitising a manual process, and I think Australians will want to get back to the park. I reckon they'll want to get back to the beach. I think Australians will want to get back to their jobs. And to do that, we have got to lean in to do effective tracing fast. And that's the beauty of the app.
Minister, Treasurer has put enormous pressure on Services Australia. What do you say to people who are still struggling with the Centrelink system, spending hours on hold, getting cut off? Is enough being done to help them?
Just be patient with us. We are processing claims and working as hard as possible. To give you an understanding, we normally process 10,000 claims a week for JobSeeker. This week we'll process 210,000 claims, 21 times. In the last 3 weeks, we've processed 9 months worth of annualised claims. That gives you an idea of the volume of what the staff is working through. We've rapidly brought on 5,000 more staff. Today, there's 4,500 staff working right now. There's tech teams working around the clock. For those looking for a customer reference number, that went live yesterday. You can go to MyGov right now and get a CRN reference number to get access to a payment right now, online, 100-point check. So there's an enormous amount of tech going in, enormous amount of resourcing going in, and Services Australia is stepping up to the plate. In this processing case, 21 times greater than what it was doing a few weeks ago.
Because you're very frustrated though, aren't
It's an unprecedented crisis with unprecedented demand. And we'll continue to build our processing capability, but a 2,100% processing increase is just the start. It's a good start. There's always more to do, but we'll ask people to be patient.